Welcome to Remainders, where we talk about all the movies that remain. My name is Patrick, and today we're going to be talking about the 2003 war epic Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World. So this is a first-time watch for you, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm so excited. So, yeah, I mean, this was a late movie for me. I never saw it. This was like a COVID movie, which I think it was for a lot of people. When lockdown first started in like 2020, people kind of caught up with a lot of movies, and this is one that kind of gained traction on social media for a lot of people gaining appreciation for it. And I was kind of like in that same era, and that was the first time I've seen it. And it's become one of my favorite movies. So this is definitely like a comfort movie for me. It's kind of the ultimate hangout film, which is what I've realized, why it's so rewatchable and so fun to watch over and over again and discover more about the characters. And I'm excited to hear what your thoughts on it. When did you watch it? Did you just finish it like 10 minutes ago or
no, I was late to coming into this, so that's probably why you're like, oh damn, you still watch it. No, actually I watched it last night, which was great because I didn't have to like feel rushed or anything like that. I let it breathe, and I had some time last night to actually enjoy it, and I enjoyed it very much. It's really like, it's cool. It's like cat and mouse, but it's also sort of like a buddy movie. You've got like Paul Bettany, and then you've also got Russell Crowe, of course. And it's sort of like a buddy movie at sea, which is weird. I wasn't expecting that. I guess I didn't know that so much going into it. But then also this cat and mouse of like the other captain that is sort of ripping off Russell Crowe's moves. And it's sort of like who's the best who. But then it also plays with themes of like letting pride fuck with you, letting that get in the way. So it's kind of cool. It's got a lot of great things that way. It feels tame in a world where like you see so much blood and gore and devastation and destruction. It feels very tame for a movie at sea that's just basically, two ships getting ripped apart the whole time. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely not a lot of gore, but there's plenty of action and kind of old school set pieces where, like the violence is definitely not the centerpiece, but the action and the practicality of what actually looked like in the ships. I mean, this is a movie that, I haven't dug too deep into it, but it gets a lot of credit for being historically accurate, just in terms of like what the day-to-day lives of these types of warships were going on. And so I think that's kind of appropriate for, the set pieces and the action. You're not going to show too much over the top because that's just not what real life was at the time. So,
yeah, well, maybe if you can just give us a little synopsis when you get a chance. But before that, maybe just give me a little understanding of how this film, if because I read and I wanted to ask you this question, like, is it based on some books or something like that? Like,
it's based on a lot of books.
Okay,
sure, yeah.
that's what I read. Yeah. Like, and so they're just sort of like pushing a lot of those together to make one movie. But is that something that was like a historical book? Is it an older book or what?
Patrick O'Brien was the author. He wrote, I believe, 21 novels of the Aubrey Maturin series. So it's the two of them, Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany. Russell Crowe playing Captain Lucky Jack Aubrey and Paul Bettany playing Dr. Stephen Maturin. It's basically 21 novels of the two of them and their adventures in the Napoleonic Wars. So plenty of stuff that they pulled from, and it would have kind of turned into more of a series in film because there's obviously so much to draw upon. But this one specific film was kind of like a little bit of a combination of different stories from.
But those books, were they written? Are they like kind of like folklorish? Like they were written and like people have like passed down from generations stories from these as like swashbuckling tales, or is it like more current? Like,
no, well, he started writing it in like the late 60s. I think it was 1969 was the first one, and he wrote them all up, kept on writing them up until his death in like 2000, I think. So somewhere around there, yeah, between 1970 and 2000, basically 21 novels. And they're novels for sure. They're all made up, but like it's based on historical fiction. So
Gotcha.
A lot of plenty of stuff drawing from real life. I mean, he was a history buff for sure. It just turned it into the novel. So,
have you read any of those books or no?
I started reading. I don't have it in front of me, but I started reading the first one just for the hell of it and just to get a vibe of it. And one of my favorite things already is that the opening scene is them meeting while playing music, the cello and the violin. So we'll get to it as just
we'll talk about that. I'm sure. Yeah,
but that's out of the 21 novels. The very first scene is them meeting while playing the instruments together. So it definitely sets the tone. I mean, you get that from the movie, but it obviously is like that was intentional with all the books as well. So the title card, which did go viral for somebody's tattoo. They got it on his back. So back in like 2020, when this movie was kind of gaining traction, there was a tattoo that went viral on Twitter of this guy getting the title card on his back, which goes April 1805. Napoleon is master of Europe. Only the British fleet stands before him. Oceans are now battlefields. It's like such a great way to like set up a fucking movie, right? It's like so badass.
That fucking tattooed on them. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, this movie fucking rules. This is one of the greatest movies out there. So I wholeheartely condone it. So.
Wow. Yeah. I have to look at that. Or maybe we'll have to share that somewhere on our social media, because I had never seen that. That's crazy. It's
totally possible it was fake and it just went viral. But either way,
gotcha. Yeah. 2020, there was a lot of fakery going around.
Right. So yeah, I mean, based on the series of the novels of the same name, like I mentioned, Master and Commander is a chase movie that goes much deeper. Russell Crowe plays Captain Lucky Jack Aubrey, and Paul Bettany plays Dr. Stephen Maturin. Crowe represents leadership and duty, and Maturin represents academia and revolution. As they chase the elusive French warship, the Acheron, the two men both test and help each other during the Napoleonic Wars. And that really kind of sums up like what I fucking love about this movie. It really is their friendship and their work relationship that is the impetus for like what makes this movie so great. And obviously the 21 novels that went on, it was all about the relationship between the two of them and how they contrast and help each other. So
yeah,
I love it.
That's definitely apparent. And knowing that they're sort of reliant on each other. One of them, like I liked what you just said in that, how the difference of the two, one is the Paul Bettany character is always about science and wanting to explore and find out like what these new creatures are on the Galapagos Islands and wanting to stop and, smell the roses sometimes. And like, at least at first, which almost gets into a mutiny on board. We've got the Russell Crowe character just like completely obsessed with being the captain, but he's a sweet guy. He's cool with all the kids on board. That's the thing is like, it's weird because when the mutiny kind of style creeps in, it's sort of like, they're going to do anything that they can for him, but like it's Paul Bettany saying, yo, stop chasing after this thing because now like, look at this, like it rained on us. Now we've got no rain. Everybody's hot. Everybody's thirsty. We've been out to sea now for months and like, we got to go home. And what are you doing? And then again, that's that pride. He just like, he needs to find the guy and get him,
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, you're summing it up perfect. So there's a throwaway joke. It's seemingly throwaway, but when they're at dinner and he asks them to Aubrey asks Maturin to point out the difference between the two weevils and leads to the joke. Oh, there's no difference between them. If you had to choose, what is the difference? And he explains, I'd choose the larger one. Don't you know you must always choose the lesser of two weevils? It's a stupid joke. It like plays well, but that really does kind of sum up what Aubrey represents for one. As in leadership, and leadership in the history of power, it really does come down to just choosing the lesser of two evils. That's what basically every leader in the history of our society is basically kind of forced to do. And the doctor kind of represents a check on that, like him pointing out the revolutionary type and being up front with Jack when he's pushing too far, like you said, like his pride's getting in the way, whether or not that's actually what they're actually trying to do is catch the ship and like how much sacrifice, because it comes into play big time when that Wally character is lost at sea. And
that's
such a fucking great scene, man. Like,
dude,
it's
gut wrenching, man.
So crushing.
Yeah,
it's so well done. And the aftermath of that, it really is like him having to face, like, am I doing this because of the duty, or am I doing this for my own pride?
Well, and clearly the that's kind of the point of no return for the crew too. They're like, wait, this guy doesn't matter. He's just but again, he had to save the goddamn ship. If they didn't do that, the ship was going to go under and everybody would have died. So I don't know.
Lesser of two evils.
The lesser of two weevils. Yes.
Weevils.
Yeah. That's an amazing scene for sure.
God, the music. And I mean, and we'll get more into it. There's so many scenes, but the music in that scene is fucking gorgeous. Like it is one of my favorite things about this movie is that, like, their relationship and the friendship starts. It shows them playing the instruments together, and the music throughout the film. Just, I love how it's directed, because like they're playing and then it like kind of feeds into the actual score of the film. So it's like, it's almost like them connected to it, and just plays out so well in so many scenes. So, man,
I'm just thinking right now, because what we're going to, I'm sure, talk about, directed by Peter Weir. I mean, what if this is like what's happening out there at the Truman Show in the water, and nobody knows that this whole battle's happening in the water of the Truman Show with Christoph pulling the strings. Okay, that's overboard. But isn't it amazing that Peter Weir directed this? Like, I mean, the guy can do so much.
Oh my God. I mean, he's another Australian director that I keep on loving. We just covered Mad Max Fury Road, the amazing George Miller. Our favorite,
famous for Big Pig in the City.
Famous for Big Pig in the City, best movie of the 90s. And we've talked about Russell McKay quite a bit, director of Highlander and a little movie called Razorback. And there's just something about the Australian directors I just always kind of return to. They're fucking great. So, and Peter Weir is definitely one of them. Yeah, Dead Poet Society, Witness, Master and Commander, Picnic at Hanging Rock, and Truman Show, like you just said. So
yeah, Truman Show. I just rewatched that recently, and I remember
I haven't watched it in a while. So
it's been a while. Yeah. Okay, maybe we should cover that on here, because I'm telling you, it is so fun to revisit. I loved it when it first came out, and now watching it all these years later, it's like, God damn, this is like so fucking apropos for the times we're living in. It's like one of those ones that just keeps getting better with age.
Yeah, there's something. It was kind of. I mean, I saw in theater, and it's like it's so weird to like think of like how close it was to like Jim Carrey's full on absurd stage. Like there was only a few years after like The Mask and
right. So you're saying this is where he starts to get more dramatic roles happening.
Yeah, for sure. I just looking back, it was like really impressive, like how quickly he and successfully shifted into dramatic roles.
Well, that was 98. Yeah. So then after that, we're working up to 2003, which is the same year as Master and Commander with Eternal Sunshine, which I would say is the quintessential dramatic role, or the one that started it all, I guess, for him.
Well, yeah, I mean, Truman Show was 98. I love Man on the Moon. That's 99. So
yeah. But again, he's playing Andy Kaufman. So,
true. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, stand up Peter Weir. He is an incredibly versatile director. Yeah, and he was one of those directors that didn't direct like all the time. There was always like a nice couple year gap between most of his movies. So.
Yeah, I thought this story was cool when I read the Wikipedia about it, like that some Fox executive was like, I want to make this fucking movie, and championed it.
The books have been were really popular, I guess. I mean, from my understanding, I didn't really know about them before the movie or anything, but they were pretty popular. So makes sense. So. But
then, again, like I said at the beginning, kind of had to creep in with like getting another C film that just is like how you compete with Disney at the time, right?
I'm 100%. I was absolutely the person that went to see Pirates of the Caribbean probably two or three times at the theater and did not. I kind of wrote this movie off. I mean, maybe I was just like in a snarky phase of movie watching, but I was like, that's Master and Commander seems maybe a little mainstream, so that's why I didn't watch it. I guess maybe it came out.
Yeah, but I mean, also if you're thinking about it, I remember that being everywhere, I mean, the advertising, it's like, it's kind of hard to beat that. It's like, I'm going to spend my money to see a movie. It's going to be Pirates of the Caribbean. There's just no doubt about it. However, this movie didn't do bad. It didn't do bad.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I think the fact that it's been enduring popularity is just a testament to how much more popular it could have been.
Now, wasn't there like an article that was written about it in 2020, and that's why people were like, "Oh, I better check this out."
Oh, that's totally possible, but I do not know the article. So,
because why did people start all of a sudden watching this and remembering? Oh, I got to go back to 2003's Master and Commander in 2020. You know.
Well, that's any cult film in general. There's not always like a specific thing that sets it off. It's just like a slow burn and rising over time to the people, more and more people gaining appreciation for it.
Yeah, I don't know where I read that from. It was like something about like maybe like a new generation was finding this film because they liked it because of a certain, I don't know, stylistically or something. I mean, it is a bromance on the sea, and it is a hangout movie, and those movies endure, like, because they're fucking great, you know. Yeah. And they're special, and they're hard to come by, and I think that's definitely one thing that people respond to. I mean, it is a very pro masculinity movie. It shows men in a positive light, doing, you know, manly things, and, you know, sometimes in this world, those types of stories are kind of rare. Which is actually kind of amazing, because there are scenes where they actually touch on that, where they get to like the Galapagos Islands or somewhere that they're pulling up, and there's like all those women, and, you know, somebody's like, leave her alone or something like that. Like, it's like, you would never hear that in any other like swashbuckling film, you know? Yeah. I mean, the one woman that's in the movie with no lines. So exactly, yeah, she's just like giving them a basket of fruit as they come. It's set on a warship in 1805. There wouldn't be women around anyway, so that's not an issue at all. I'm just saying, like, it is a completely isolated pro masculinity movie where it's about the friendship between the two of them, and it shows how they help each other in a positive light, and it is just. I think appropriate to be as a film. And like I said, those are kind of rare to come by, especially in the political climate in the last 15 years. So yeah. I also think that's helped. It's gained its popularity with that. So do you think that those two characters see themselves in the younger kids that are on the boat? For sure. I don't know if overtly, but I mean, that kind of touches on one part of like why, one aspect that I love is, so it is all about the synergy of them. I'm kind of like working together. It's like I said, the leadership and authoritative aspect of Captain Jack, and then the liberal revolutionary academia type with the doctor. And Blakely, he's the young kid who gets his arm cut off in the operation. Blonde hair. Yeah, so he's like a young, like basically prepping captain, and a kind of represents what the combination of the two of them, with leadership and intellectual curiosity from the doctor. And so that's why I love that character, and he just kind of has aspects of both, and it shows that like. They're not in opposing forces. They're actually in working together in a positive way. So, yeah, that's what I was interesting, because the kids are such a big part of the story, you know? Yeah. I mean, go ahead. Yeah. I mean, when you say kids, I mean, these are young men kind of. Yeah, but how old can that kid be? I mean, he's one of the youngest ones. Yeah. He's by far the youngest one for sure that is actually taking on duties. He's probably maybe the others are like more 14. Teenagers. The other ones are like probably like late teens, early 20s maybe, and those are, you know, a lot of the crew is kind of. I mean, the unsaid thing is that a lot of the crew, this is basically in a day, which is like indentured servitude. Like they're there because they're forced to be there, not there because they took like a summer job or anything. And that's a big reason why the doctor, he pushes back on Captain Jack. He's like, I don't quite understand your tyrannical impulses, but I do understand mutiny, you know, because these people are taken from their homes to go on a warship and possibly die. So it's just it's interesting, like the setup. I mean, it's such a different world.
also. Like, I mean, this is like over 200 years ago. So that's why the
also like
accuracy of it
to watch this and be like,
incredible.
oh, they're seeing like, you know, iguanas for the first time that swim. Like that really puts you in the, you know, in the times, because it's like
two new species in just as many minutes. I love that line. So
I also knew that the doctor was going to get fucking shot. You know, he's like, oh, you know, that scene was so obvious. Yeah. It's like he's gonna get fucking hit, you know.
So yeah, that's kind of technically a hunting accident. They see the bird, one of the guys trying to shoot it, the doctor's trying to see it, and that leads to like one of my favorite scenes. Like, I mean, the self-operation with the doctor, man, with the mirror. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
it's fucking it's so well shot. He's got the bullet in his belly. The side doctor doesn't know what he's doing. He's definitely not trained enough. So Maturin can't like actually let him do it. And so
everybody's freaked out. Everybody, you know,
except for him. He's the only one. He's the only one that is like kind of calm, cool, collected as they're showing him the mirror, and he's operating on himself to pull the bullet out. I mean, it's so badass. But that's such a pivotal scene because it comes after he was pushing back on Russell Crowe for his, you know, questioning his actions, and maybe it's just pride. And then it just shows Captain Jack being like completely distraught while he's operating on himself. He's standing up and doing it right. And it just is kind of like an accurate representation of like how they need each other. And it's just not, it's more of a democracy rather than a straight up authoritarianism. So,
yeah. And he also kind of just says like, oh, we're not going to this island now because of me, are we? It's like at that point, you know, he was like, okay, Captain Jack realizes he fucking went too far. Look at what happened. He got shot, and here we go, you know?
I mean, again, another one where the music is fucking gorgeous. When he kind of wakes up and he's looking around and realizing, oh, did you do this for me? And he sees the iguanas. The music looks great. And yeah, that it does kind of go into one part that I love about it. It's them kind of, Jack sacrifices the pursuit of the Acheron to save Maturin, the doctor. He basically cuts the chase of the Acheron, and so that he gets him on the island, shows him that last part, and then gives him the space to operate on himself to save himself. So he does sacrifice for him. And then versely, Maturin, he sacrifices his own pursuits later when he's the one who spots the Acheron. And so he's the one who throws down all the animals that they were hunting and gathering on the Galapagos, and then rushing back to make sure that they can keep the pursuit going. So it really is that sacrifice for each other that kind of like gives them that further bond that I love. So,
yeah, I love that line where he's like, well, the bird doesn't fly, right? It's not going anywhere.
Well, that's one of the best. Yeah, that's the final line of the movie.
Right.
Oh, yeah, God, it's so good.
Yeah. So let's talk about the music.
We'll get to that end scene for sure. So,
well, let's talk about the music for a second. So, do you know the composer and everything like that? As I'm watching it for the first time, of course, I'm kind of taking it all in as a whole. So I, you know, of course, loved it, and I felt it and noted it, but I didn't really, you know, I'm not sitting there really, because I'm following the story and I'm following the characters and everything. It's all kind of happening at once for me. So I don't really know too much about who the composer was or anything.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, the composers right here, Iva Davies, Christopher Gordon, and Richard Tognetti. So they're the composers of the film, but I mean, a lot of music that I kind of like really love is like, I mean, the classical music that they're actually putting in there. And that's Luigi Boccherini is a lot of the old classical scores that they are using in the film. And like, that's what they're playing.
They're playing? Okay.
They're playing, but also some of like, you know, what you're hearing as well. So it's a blend of the composers, but then a lot of classical scores that they're using. But everything, like every time they're playing, that's like, it looks like Luigi Boccherini, the cellist and violin. So Italian composer. So
very cool.
And I fucking love classical music so much. So just it is a huge reason why I love this movie. It just blends so well with the time. And again, like I said, them playing the instruments just represents their friendship. You know, the two different rhythms and how they kind of go in and out with each other. And it just represents their
that's the key. Two different rhythms, and like it's cool even at that last scene when they're playing, because they like pick it up and they're not like they're just
then they switch off.
Yeah, and then they both switch off. Yeah. Really cool the way they do that. Yeah. But also I feel like that is a little I don't know, like what they need as characters too. It does a lot. When they're at sea, I feel like they need the calmingness of the music and the quiet, but the music to be there to sort of soothe them, because this is like an insane thing that they're doing. They're like at sea. I mean, just in general, if you've ever been on a boat, like, and ever had seasickness, like it's fucking brutal just being on like a little like, dinghy when you're out on like the Lake Michigan, for like a holiday, when you're chilling out. Like, I can't imagine what it's like to be on a big warship and you can't go home, you can't get to land, and there's no rain, and there, or there's too much rain, and you're all on this fucking waves. Like, I would die out there. Like day one, I'd be dead.
I don't know, man. Tell me honestly, as a man, you wouldn't want to do this for like 12 months. So not forever, but
not a chance, dude. Not a chance. I mean, like
come on, the masculine urge to just go on a warship for 12 months. Every man has that, at least a little bit.
The farthest I go for being like a masculine man is grow like a big beard. Like that's about as far as I go. I don't think the warship thing is me. So,
I mean, you did just shave. You're clean shaven right now. So it's
like you never really see me clean shaven either, do you?
Yeah, no.
Pretty crazy. Like the guy you hired at Suncoast back in the day.
Man, what a hiring mistake that was. Jesus Christ.
I know. It brought us to today,
Right. Well, man, you wouldn't be watching this movie if it didn't. So.
I mean, I probably would not have seen it. Again, it's like shit at sea, fucking Westerns, like all that stuff doesn't like, I'm going to pick up and watch that, I don't know why. It's just not the kind of movies that I would watch.
I get it.
But I like it.
I literally said last week that like thrillers are not what I love them, but like they're not what I watch first. So, you got your preferred genres. I get it.
Yeah. But at the end of the day too, this kind of is reminiscent to like a Mad Max Fury Road, which I hadn't seen.
Right.
Isn't it right?
I love that you pointed out, because I mean, for just one, that it's just like a chase scene. That's all. That's the whole plot of the movie. It's just a chase scene, and you're learning about the characters and the stories and the world building outside of that. It's exactly like that. So I was thinking the exact same thing, and that's a huge reason why I love it so much.
But even the way I feel that the action plays out, where you don't like sit in sort of like gore or anything like that. Like Mad Max doesn't have that either. It's like people get fucked up, just like in this movie, but you don't, I think the most like gory part was like when that guy gets onto the ship and he's like, we already did the job. And it's like, poof, he hits him and shoots him right in the head.
Violent wise, sure. But and again, like there's all the operation scenes. There's like 3 kind of major operation scenes, the Blakely.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And again, it's not gory, but it is so well done that you're actually like feeling those scenes. Yeah. It's much more effective than watching, like a Saw movie sometimes, because it's just kind of shot in a way where like you're truly kind of feeling it, and it's not done for just like comic effect or anything. So
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, that's an interesting movie that way. Anybody listening to this, it might be, if you haven't seen it or whatever, I think it's interesting to watch it, like understanding that this movie isn't really made like this. I don't know. You don't see movies like this very often.
No, it's a big budget character study. Which is insane. Like that's a kind of unheard of now. And again, that's one of just multiple reasons why I think it's gained traction over the last 20 years and it's remained popular. So
for sure. And I mean, we could talk, I'm sure, forever about Russell Crowe, but where does this fit in your Russell Crowe filmography? I mean, it's almost kind of
way up there.
Yeah, it's almost kind of watching this, right? Like, and you're thinking, God damn, Russell Crowe. Like, I don't know. These days, I know he's in films and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem to be the gravitas as he had back in, post LA Confidential.
No, he was like the biggest movie star of the world at this time.
Yeah, after Gladiator.
He was like the guy. I mean, I respond. There's 3 movies that I love of his the most, and they all have something in common, which is that it's basically a buddy movie. all three of them. So like it's this one with Paul Bettany, 3:10 to Yuma, him and Christian Bale, working together, and then The Nice Guys, him and Ryan Gosling. So it's like those are honestly three of my favorite Russell Crowe movies, and they all kind of operate in the same way, where it's like he's got kind of an antagonist friend who he ends up working well together with. So there's just something about those three that I have that similar trait, and why like he works so well with those. So they just all three of those, I fucking love those movies.
Yeah, I know. By the way, have not seen two of those.
You haven't seen 3:10 to Yuma or Nice Guys?
No.
Yeah, Nice Guys. Well, yeah, they're both on my list.
I know Nice Guys as you always talk about. Love it.
I think more 3:10 to Yuma. I've mentioned that quite a bit. Nice Guys. I do. I haven't mentioned it too much, I don't think.
Well, maybe it's my girlfriend who was like, you got to see Nice Guys or something. Somebody else told me about that they really love it.
It's possible. Yeah, I haven't mentioned it too much, but it is one that's been growing on me the last couple times I've watched it. It's fucking fantastic. It's Shane Black, from Lethal Weapon, the writer of Lethal Weapon, he directed it, and it is a true like throwback to like 80s buddy cop stories.
Oh, fuck yes. Yeah. I mean, I mentioned LA Confidential. Where does that stand for you? Have you seen?
I've definitely seen it. I probably haven't watched it in at least 15 years. So
I had an English.
I would love to revisit it, but it didn't stick with me too much the first couple times I saw it. So
love the film. Big fan myself. But I had an English teacher one time in college where he said that he thought LA Confidential was just like as close, like The Graduate was as close to perfect of a movie that like could ever be. And then he said this one and LA Confidential was a close second to that. I always think about that. I don't know what he meant in the context. Maybe he meant like literally, or like maybe in an English, because it was an English class. I don't know. But I'd always thought about that. I love LA Confidential also for the ensemble cast, which is another reason. But maybe that also plays up to what you're talking about and how well Russell Crowe seems to do with other actors. Like Joaquin and him are such great enemies, and fucking even though they're not really in any like scenes together until like later on,
Wait, him and who?
Joaquin in Gladiator.
Oh, Gladiator. I thought you were still talking about LA Confidential. Yeah. I mean, that is a full-on adversary. Like I said, those three that I mentioned are all like him working.
No, totally. I guess I'm just like working well with actors in general. And I understand what you mean, like just like the buddy feel. But he seems to be one of those actors that like now you don't really you don't think of him as like the star that he was back then, right?
No, because he's definitely not. I've seen him on podcasts. Like I think he'd be the first to admit that he's just a working actor now. I mean, he does like a lot of like, he's done like Marvel stuff, Craven, Thor. I mean, he's been in a couple like kind of throwback movies. This one, Unhinged. I want to watch it because it looks crazy. After a confrontation with an unstable man in an intersection, a woman becomes the target of his rage. So he basically plays like a road rage pursuer, almost like a Death Proof type movie. So he's like, this is like a B movie, but he's starring in it. Yeah, he's the basically the pursuer in it, and it looks insane. It's only like 2020 or something, so it's not that old.
Oh, you know what? I did just see him, by the way, and like, wasn't he in like the latest Exorcist?
Yes, one of them, The Exorcism. It's not The Exorcist, but he did an exorcism movie. The Pope's Exorcist.
The Pope's Exorcist. Okay, didn't
see him. I haven't heard too many great things about these movies that we're mentioning, so that's why I haven't like run out to see them. But it's like Russell Crowe. It's Russell Crowe in a B movie.
Rules,
I would definitely watch it. So.
Throw Russell Crowe in the next Quentin Tarantino movie, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's back!" It's like, I don't know. There's just like something about like he's unused the right way or something, because he's really great.
You know what he did play? I totally forgot, because this movie was pretty abysmal. The Tom Cruise Mummy from 2017. He played Jekyll from Jekyll and Hyde. So, and I remember he he was supposed to be kind of that was them trying to like build out the MonsterVerse, like do like a Marvel for.
I was wondering, movies. So they had like all of them kind of come in and out.
Yeah, that was them trying to kick that off, failed miserably because The Mummy was pretty trash, and I'll be the first to watch a Tom Cruise.
I remember at that time, like, what the fuck? Like, everybody loves the Brendan Frasers. Like, why reboot it with Tom Cruise? But this makes more sense where they were just trying to like, reboot the Universal Monsters thing. And
then Nice Guys was 2016, so not like crazy long ago, but coming up on 10 years. But that movie's fucking fantastic. So, and Noah was a couple years before that.
Right,
that's not bad. So, I mean, it's.
Now you like a good Bible movie, don't you?
Oh, I love a good Bible movie. That one's pretty good. I mean, nobody can stay the most popular actor in the world. Very few people can do that. If you ever get to that, even for a couple of years, it's pretty impressive. So, aside from Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is in the fucking biggest movie of the summer.
That's a different story. And we'll get to Mission Impossible because I saw the last one. So it's fantastic. So,
well, okay. I want to talk about that too, because I've been loving the memes that are going around, the fucking popcorn shit. I mean, we'll talk about it, but after post Master and Commander.
All right. Back to the Master and Commander. We got Billy Boyd, Pippin, Coxswain.
Yeah.
Same year as Return of the King. So this is 2003. And we've failed to mention this movie was nominated for 10 Oscars. It won 2 technical awards, but the fact that it was nominated for that many. So like I said, this was not like a failed film by any means. It made decent money. It was obviously hugely appreciated at the time. It just didn't have any immediate staying power, which I feel is why so many people have kind of discovered now in the last like 5 or 6 years. So
yeah, definitely like glad to see movies like this have a resurgence, because I don't know, like I remember like
classic filmmaking.
It's kind of like too, like there's just like so many things and so much trash out there, right? Like kind of like these days, it's like
green screen trash.
Green screen trash, or like I saw some of the pictures of them putting this thing in the water, like full scale ship, and also just like in general, there's so much trash that it's like a good thing to remember as an artist, that like when you make something worthwhile, like it will rise to the top eventually, and it will stick around, because there's just so much to compete with out there. And you might be like the flash of the day, but how long will that art last?
When it's on the HMS Surprise, it's definitely going to last. She's in her prime, as he says of the ship. So
she's in her prime. Yeah.
I fucking love that line.
Well, actually, here's the thing. Yeah. There are females in this film. It's just they're the ships. See?
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. On the technicality. So.
Okay. So I also want to say, I went to Disney with my girlfriend for her birthday. That was her like wish for her birthday, and I fucking love Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And I went on it like twice. And then I thought, I got to rewatch the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. But this was before you told me Master and Commander. And I was thinking, like, there's some of those Pirates movies that just like kept on churning them out that I think I missed a few. Have you seen all of them?
I've definitely seen all of them. And I absolutely love 2 and 3, because the first 3 are directed by Gore Verbinski.
That's right. Yeah.
4 and 5 are not directed by him at all. And that's why they're totally forgettable. I saw them both once and haven't thought about them once since then. So, but I've definitely rewatched 2 and 3, and Gore Verbinski is just like one of my favorite directors, and like they hold up so well. I mean, they're definitely bloated. The first one probably is the best, although I do kind of really like where they go with 2 and 3. But that's all to say. Yeah, love the first 3. Don't really care about 4 and 5. So.
Do you think that a movie like Master and Commander could have staying power like that? Do you think it could be like there could be a sequel? I think I heard that they're trying to make like a prequel or something to it.
Well, again, with the fact that they're based on the books, that's never going away. Like in 200 years, if they're still making movies, they'll be like, if we're going to make a war movie set in 1800, go back to these popular novels that.
Yeah, because they could like reboot this with the new cast and different characters that are of the times now that are.
And I mean, it's certainly, I guarantee, like they would have wanted to do that if it was a little bit more financially successful. That this would have. I mean, it's so clearly a movie that you would want to have a sequel to, because it's so rich in like so many different stories that they could draw upon, and it's the characters, of Aubrey and Maturin that would just be endless stories. So, and the way it's like filmed, like I said, it's like a hangout movie. It's not really plot driven. It's just it could have been like a hugely successful film series, but it was, like you said, like it is more character driven. So there's no surprise why Pirates of the Caribbean was like just that much more successful and gained all the sequels, and this one didn't. So
yeah, interesting. Weird to like also be like, okay, can't wait, we're finally making this movie, and then like you have another fucking C movie come out at the same. Like, could you imagine like people that were making this film like, god damn it,
I would be interested to learn like what what's the
decision makers or whatever,
the studio,
or
like just like what the vibe was and how that came to be, because like I don't know, but at the same time, they have those like paired movies, studios almost intentionally match each other, like Ants and Bug's Life, Volcano and Dante's Peak. There's like Deep Impact and Armageddon. At the time, there was something with like studios like would almost purposely compete and like have two similar
kind of like putting a Burger King next to a McDonald's.
Right. Yeah. So it's like almost like intentional counter programming with the same exact vibe. So
I'm choosing Wendy's every time. Fuck it.
I haven't had Wendy's in probably 20 years.
Dude, I haven't had McDonald's in probably 20 years. Like,
what I had for the first time, possibly ever, certainly since I was a kid, I had a Whopper like 4 years ago.
And was it 4 years ago? Jesus, was it?
Well, I don't eat fast food.
Well, neither do I. Yeah, I mean, I probably haven't had a Whopper in over 4 years, so I don't know.
Probably, but it was probably the first Whopper I ever had in my adult life, and I got to tell you, it was fucking great.
No shit, like, that stuff really is fucking great. Good. All of that like, stuff is great. I don't get it, It's like, and I don't know why I don't eat more of it, but probably because I care about myself. But that's but at the same time, it's great. I love it.
It was a shockingly good burger. So
I saw somebody eating on a television show the other day, White Castle.
I had White Castle a couple years ago, and that still hold up because that was my favorite when it was White Castle and Taco Bell were definitely my favorites in high school. So
probably the worst of the worst for you.
I thought they said Taco Bell was kind of not the worst.
Really? Who's they?
I don't know.
The internet,
the powers that be on the fast food. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, very cool. I mean, I'm telling you, like I like that idea that when something is happening, like let's blow it out. I didn't really think of it that way, that this, both movies could help each other. Maybe they did,
It could be, yeah. I mean, obviously that was the thinking back in the day with all those matching movies. So,
yeah.
All right, man, I'm going to run down a couple of things. The Lesser of Two Weevils. There's a few things. So we didn't mention. So with Maturin pushing back on Aubrey, being like, you're being too tyrannical, you're going to get a mutiny. There's almost like a scapegoating that comes on with blame from the rest of the crew. They don't blame Captain Jack. They blame Hallam, the second crewman, who is weak.
That's right. Yeah, we didn't talk about this at all.
Weak and ineffectual, and they basically come up with him as an excuse that he's cursed, and so he's the reason why the Acheron keeps on attacking
curse,
them.
By the way, what's it called again?
I forget the name of the curse. I mean, it was based on the Bible Jonah story. I don't know.
Yeah, Jonah maybe is what they said. I can't remember.
Yeah,
that was a little confusing to
me. Yeah. Well, I mean, they're definitely deep in the references. So, I mean, I just took it as like they're drawing from biblical references and assigning the curse to Hallam and blaming him for all their misfortune, all the death of Wally, the man lost to sea, all the Acheron attacks. And so it kind of does represent like, that is a part of leadership. It's like, he's not intentionally doing that or anything, but like, it's easy for a group, small, large, an entire society to blame something else.
Mob mentality.
something else than who's not the leader. I mean, sure, you can come up with a lot of ideas of how like the leader will deflect blame, or a mob mentality will assign it to something else as a way to do it, to justify it. And in this, it's Hallam. They basically assign the curse to him, and he, it's such a tragic scene when he ends up taking himself out.
Fucking another tragic scene. Those scenes are really well done, And
again, like, this is only a 2-hour movie. It's the amount of stories they pack into it and the character study. So he takes himself out of guilt. He's just he represents the weak and ineffectual leader. That's the other thing. It's like, at the most base level, everybody kind of hates somebody who is not able to lead or even lead themselves, and they respect the leadership and kind of disrespect people who can't do that. So
yeah, which is why casting is so perfect too, because you get that guy pitted it kind of against, like, when they have that scene and Russell Crowe's Captain Jack is talking to him like, hey, it's cool, but this is going to keep going unless they respect you. So you need to find yourself and find out. And of course he can't, because he's not Captain Jack, but like to see those two in the room and see, like, this fucking like tried and true sea captain leader with this little kind of pipsqueak, it's great.
I know, you feel so bad for him. So
spoiler alert, he fucking drowns himself with a goddamn cannonball. That death was, and and then the way they film it as he's going down in the water, he's like, you were always nice to me. And then jumps off the side.
Oh, when he talks to Blakely, right at the last minute. Yeah. I don't know. Killer.
Yeah.
Flogging for the insubordination. So one of the crewmen, he is insubordinate to Hallam before he passes away, and Aubrey's reaction is to flog him. And so that's like another point of contention with the doctor. It's like all he did was be slightly insubordinate to one of the captains, and his reaction is to flog him and to actually whip him. And so that's another tipping point for that. Yeah. I know, like, there's so much shit in this movie. That's what I'm saying. Like, once you watch it a couple more times, like, you're just going to pick up more and more each time. There's still stuff that I was picking up on this last time. So,
yeah, I was going to say, like, that scene. Was he drinking? Did he have what was he doing?
Well, yeah, he was drinking. So, but then, he like shoulder checks Hallam, and that's basically, that is as disrespectful as you can to a captain. But like the reaction, the doctor's saying, like, the reaction to that should not be getting whipped as a violent punishment. And that's basically him saying, like, I don't quite understand that, but I do understand mutiny from a group of crewmen that don't abide to that. So again, it's just kind of their push and pull with each other, and they end up helping each other more and more. But they, the doctor definitely holds them to a higher standard sometimes when it comes to those aspects of it.
Yeah, and I definitely now, and more as we're talking about this, I'm seeing this as like a big study on like men,
study on leadership, authority, but then also revolution and the pursuit of academia in a kind of democratic
and
way.
How does it harmonize together?
Again, you just summed up. That's why the movie is one of my favorites. And I haven't read them, but why there's 21 novels with the two of them together, them being the lead of all the novels. So
yeah, you kind of do love, like, when you start to see the friction and you see these two kind of getting at odds, because you're like, even then you still see the respect in them. It's like,
oh yeah, totally.
They're both who they are, and you can't. It's kind of like your brothers and sisters or whatever, like in family. It's like you're kind of. You respect each other, but you're going to fight, and you're going to have differences of opinion.
I love everybody says, if you please, every time they're asking for something, like damage report, if you please. I just love that. It's like, in a work environment, imagining that type of dialogue going on.
Ahoy.
Well,
aye, aye, Captain.
Not a lot of pirates on here, but
there's a little scene with that where like the one guy is like marooned kind of like on a little boat, and he's like, the pirates got us.
It's true. You mentioned, a little sidetrack, staying on nautical, cutthroats. working some more?
Oh yeah, I've been doing a little recording and writing with Cody. I mean, that's funny because we were doing that band before any of this happened. So, that's probably like 2002. It goes back to or something.
Yeah. I remember you being like, hey, pirate movies fucking rule, man. I don't know if you watch a lot of pirate movies, but I got this band cut through.
Well, the other thing at the time, we were watching a lot of stuff like Crimson Pirates. I believe that was like an Errol Flynn film. All those kind of old swashbuckling films of the day that were super popular with people. I mean, people like a good fucking movie at sea. Like, I don't know, I never seen Waterworld, but I know you like that.
I like it enough. I've seen it once. It
was a fucking bomb when it came out. All I remember about that is that like people were laughing at it.
Yeah, it's better. It's better than its reputation. It's a fun movie. Kevin Costner. We talked about Kevin Costner in his prime. That was like right then. He was still.
Well, what is like the best movie?
And Dennis Hopper in a eye patch.
Right. Yeah.
So, Dennis Hopper in an eye patch. That alone should sell you for it. So
this weekend I get to see Dennis Hopper on the big screen in the cemetery. The first Cinespia screening of the year for me. Blue Velvet at Cinespia, dude.
Oh man, that's gonna be incredible.
I know my girlfriend's never seen it, so I cannot wait for her to get her fucking freaked out seeing Dennis Hopper again.
You've seen it enough. It might be more fun to just watch her reaction.
Exactly. I'm just going to watch her the whole time. Wait, so this is a good question. Best movie at sea. Can you think on the top of your head?
Best movie at sea. I mean, I'm not joking. Like this would be way up there. Master and Commander. So
yeah.
I mean, I do love the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Like anytime I've been saying like how they got all the attention, I fucking love those first three movies. So
I mean, it broke the mold, for sure. It was like everything and more. Plus, again, if you like, it was so built in. People who love Disney and love that ride, it's like, oh my god, we get to see these characters come to life. Like now that I have been to Disney more, now that I live in California and have gone more than I would have ever in my life, I think I would love to rewatch that series, kind of like. Because it's so fun when you go on that ride and like, I don't know. Have you been to the California one ever? Or?
No, I went to the Florida one time, and it's
probably similar. I don't know.
It was all right,
but it's old as hell. Yeah. At least the one here is, and but now they've incorporated like Johnny Depp's like character as Captain Jack in it and stuff like that.
Would Jaws be a movie at sea? Not really. Second half.
Yes, it would.
That's half.
Actually probably the best one now that I think about it.
If you consider a movie at sea, yeah, the second half is at sea technically. So that would be way up there.
Yeah. There's something pretty fucked up about like being out there, on the water like that, where it's like, I don't know.
I mean, Avatar: The Way of Water is a movie that's at it's definitely at sea.
Yeah.
That whole fucking movie is water. That's why it's great. So
still have not seen it. I know I'm missing out, but
205 days until Avatar 3 comes out. Just FYI, as we're on the Avatar information bit of the podcast.
The counter does not stop over at Patrick's house. He's got I'm sure off screen, a clock there that just says Avatar coming out.
Yeah, it's like the debt clock. When you looked at how much debt was going, I just switched mine to Avatar.
Avatar, so. Yeah.
It's like 1,500 days until Avatar 5. Just FYI, somewhere along those lines. So,
well, let's hope we live long enough to see that.
I'm seeing a lot of bad movies when I just Google best movies at sea. So,
like
Google's not doing a great job because I Googled best movies at sea and they recommended Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah, not on the water. Maybe it's
arguably one of the best movies out of here, but it's definitely not a movie at sea. So
one we've covered as well. So if you're enjoying this podcast, go back and listen to our episode on Manchester at the Sea. Manchester at the Sea? Manchester of the Sea. What is the fucking name of that? By the sea.
Fucking sea.
Manchester by the sea. Yes.
Good British
accent. In Boston.
I don't know. I guess the answer is Waterworld because it is the most amount of water for the best movies at sea. So, so we'll say Waterworld and Avatar: Way of Water. So,
okay.
All right. Well, there's one more. And the saluting. That was another one. Okay. So the saluting, Aubrey, they're saluting the captain the whole time. And then so they come up on the Acheron, and this is another convergence of the leadership of Aubrey and the academia of the Doctor. Basically uses the Doctor's knowledge of the bug that looks like a stick as a way to pretend to be a whaling ship.
Yeah.
Pretend to be a whaling ship to come up on the Acheron. And so that's how their stealth plan to take on the Acheron, which is successful. So again, just another aspect of how like the two of them blending their expertise together is like what the impetus and the drive for
that was such a great cool
story.
Part of the movie. That had to have been written in one of the books, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. I mean, from what I understand, like pretty much everything comes from at least one of the books, certainly not the first, but cobbling together. And so that leads to kind of a point where he's got to basically pretend to be just one of the whalers or just one of the crewmen. And he specifically says, no more saluting. And so like that one thing alone, it's subtle, but that's him kind of conceding a little bit of his pride and leadership. He's still the leader, he's still the captain, but he's like, no saluting right now. And when it's appropriate, and because I'm acting as one of the crewmen as you are. So, it just is super subtle, but it just kind of represents the importance of saluting, because he previously was like flogging the guy for not saluting,
right.
And so now he's kind of switching over a little bit to that.
Oh, the guy even has trouble doing it. He says, "Oh, yes, sir," or something like after.
Well, yeah, this play for fun. It's like, at this point, no more saluting. Yes, sir. So
yeah, exactly. I was going to say that whole stealth thing that's a super cool write-in little part of the film. And I think the other thing that I thought was cool that we didn't talk about yet is the other captain fooling him right up until,
right.
Like he thought that the captain was dead.
Yeah. So last scene, they're playing the instruments together, and go ahead, describe it. What he takes the French captain, and then they get to the scene where they're playing the music together. So
yeah, exactly. Like it was kind of interesting because it was like, here we go again kind of thing for everybody, but like
I love that tone for Master and Commander. Here we go again.
Yeah. But like the fact that the captain on the other ship is so cunning and like a good match for him,
right?
For Captain Jack, and that he fooled him even in the end scene where he thinks the captain's dead and he's on the table, but no, really the Doctor, he finds out, was the captain, which is a super cool little moment, And then they got to go back and find the ship, because now he's potentially going to get the guy that he just made captain of that ship killed, because the other French captain is still alive there.
I love when he realizes, when Maturin was like saying like, oh no, that was the Doctor. Like Russell Crowe has this, if you look at it closely, just his eye like flinches, like just barely. It's so fucking good. I've seen it enough times where I notice it now each time, but like his left eye, like he like is like about to pop, and he's just so subtle, but like it's perfect. But yeah, so they change course, and then what about your promise, Jack, to go to the Galapagos? Well, the bird doesn't have wings, right? It's not going anywhere. So
yeah,
they're like,
here we go again.
Next week on Master and Commander. So
I mean, it actually could be a mini series if they actually like just left that set up, Yeah,
right. Love it. And then as we mentioned, they start playing and they trade off the lead for the song. One's on the cello, one's on the violin, and it switches off, and it's fucking great. I love it. So it just is such a perfect ending. And then the music's playing, spans back, you see the ship, and you just subtly see the Acheron as they start turning towards it. One of the best endings of all time. Love it.
Yeah. And like again, the adventure continues. It's in the minds of the audience, like, okay, what's going to happen now?
Shenanigans. That's what I would say. So
classic. All right, cool. Master and Commander. Glad I finally saw it. Thanks for introducing it. I've loved these Patrick favorites episodes. I mean, we've talked about it. I think one of our favorite episodes, Just You and I, it was the Mad Max Fury Road one, because you are a wealth of knowledge of that film, and that's one of your favorites. But this one too, I like these ones where you just have a lot to share about them, and makes me want to watch the movie again, because it's just like so much that again, as you're watching the first time, you're just really absorbing it, and then there's just like so much to take away once you have a conversation like this, that you want to watch it, over and over to catch these things and see these nuances and different things.
Well, I mean, this is a recommendation podcast, and there are certain movies where I'm like, oh, you haven't seen that? You got to remedy that. So, and that's kind of been my favorite style, is like watching the movies that you love that I haven't seen, trading off and going to discovering them that way. So definitely works well for like the conversation and for like the whole purpose of the podcast. So
yeah, I was watching, honestly, it's leaving at the end of the month, and just because we were going to bed and we didn't want to like start a new movie, but The Beach is on Criterion, and I'm wanting to watch that, but that's not the one we watched, but like, because we wanted to fall asleep, I'm like, let's watch something we've both seen, and we threw on Ed Wood, because I'm like, anytime Ed Wood is like there, I'm like, I just fucking love that movie. We covered it and everything on the podcast, but of course then we couldn't go to sleep because we were just enjoying it. It's like, oh my God, like fucking Ed Wood is so good, and Johnny Depp is so fucking cool in this. And yeah, everything we cover on this podcast, I feel like, are most of the time they're movies that both, are favorites of ours. Sometimes not, but, a lot of times the recommendations are for valid reasons. So it's like movies we really like.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be the best movie of all time. It's just a movie we like that think other people should watch. I mean, that's kind of where I come at it a lot, is the movies I really love that I think maybe somebody, would get would benefit from getting a recommendation out of. Like, maybe it's not the most popular, because there's plenty of like huge movies that I love that, we haven't covered, but everybody's seen fucking Jurassic Park. So you don't need my recommendation for that. So
yeah, but it'd be cool to talk about it.
Oh, we'll definitely talk about it. Maybe, like on a landmark episode for sure. But I'm just saying, like, generally the movies I'm picking, it's, again, the last couple ones, there were ones that you haven't seen. So that's why I'm going for them. So
were you saying that nobody out there has seen Razorback?
The coolest people of the cool, for sure. The cool Australians, and
that's right.
Remainders podcast. So come across the VHS. Have you seen this? Have I?
Yeah, have I? Yeah, like I felt like a badass in front of like the fucking VHS nerds that I was talking to. Like, that those guys were like the biggest geeks. Like, if you know Razorback, and I was like, yeah, I fucking know Razorback, motherfucker. I'm like, you want to talk about it? And those are that's the best thing in LA, because like everybody's kind of a movie geek, out here. Yeah. Like it's the best shit.
Yeah.
I will say, it is a little sad that you haven't gotten out to LA since we've been doing this podcast, because every time we are in Hollywood, which is pretty often these days, we see the TMZ tour, celebrity tour go by, and Marianne's like, we got to get fucking Pat out here. I got to film you and Pat on one of those things doing the celebrity tour through Hollywood. And I'm like, that is like that. Okay. That's bucket list for me. If there's bucket list, that's me and you on one of those celebrity tours would be the best.
I mean, we're definitely going to make it happen. There's no doubt about that. So get maybe a live episode in, actually. We've never done that.
From the top of one of those things would be so cool. Yeah. And we haven't, like, live in general, right?
Yeah. That would definitely be a good event to work up to. So,
I mean, that's why this. Hey, look, if we live long enough, that's in the cards, because we're not going to stop doing the podcast. We're going to be doing this forever, and a live one, I think, is definitely a possibility.
Hell yeah! No, yeah. I mean, we started doing this because we were on the opposite ends of the country, and kept it going so well. But it would make sense to try to get one of those episodes in. So. Yeah, see the synergy go. All right,
what's happening in the world? What's going on in Pat's world?
That is Master and Commander. What is going on in my world? Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. It was fantastic. Last 8th movie with Tom Cruise, crushing this franchise, which has become one of my favorite action franchises for sure. So it's been endearing. You quit after 2. I know you started watching them.
Not after 2. I think maybe got to like 4 or something. It was kind of just like more. We didn't not like it, but like as you get into the middle area of those, it's kind of like same shit over and over again, and it's kind of.
I feel like maybe you watched them too close together, because they get better. I mean, I love all 8 films. Because they are different, but they like 4, 5, and 6 are arguably most people's like favorite.
So I think we kind of rolled out around 4. And again, probably just because like some other thing happened. There was another movie thing that came up and then we just got lost in it. But it wasn't because we didn't like it. I also think that I can revisit these easily on my own. I don't think like Marianne's going to be like, oh, I wish you would have watched the Mission Impossible 5 with,
right.
You know, she doesn't give a fuck. But she loves Tom Cruise just like I do. Like we are full Tom Cruise right now. Like I told you, and you can go back. This is what's so great about Remainders. It's like our diary. I was so fucking into Tom Cruise when Top Gun Maverick came out. That's the start of all this shit with him, in my opinion, where he's just like saving the movies. But also, Cinespia just released what they're going to be playing on the 4th of July for the fireworks.
Whoa.
Top Gun.
Oh my God.
Yep. And then the next day, La La Land, the 5th, with fireworks. Get the fuck out of here, you know? Like, this is why you got to move to LA, dude, because it's like the summertime here is just as nice as Chicago.
LA, yeah.
Too hot for you.
I'm not moving to LA, but I'm definitely coming to hang out. So I'll give you that much. So,
well, cool. So Mission Impossible was a good movie.
Yes, it's
better than the first half.
I would, the Dead Reckoning, and Final Reckoning is the one that just came out. It was a different movie. It was like almost like a summation of like the whole franchise as in its entirety. It felt different from any other movie in the franchise, and I think that's why a lot of people didn't initially really like it that much. It has been getting like some of the weaker reviews of the whole franchise.
But I think more people came out to see
overall.
This one than the first half, didn't they?
I think it's doing a little bit better. Yeah. But just generally, but what I love about it is like taking like a step back. Like it really is like an anti-AI film with all like practical effects. Cause you really like the last like 30 minutes really is like Tom Cruise literally like hanging off a fucking like fighter plane, like an old school fighter plane. Not like anything new. Like
an old bomber from like the war or something.
Yeah,
awesome.
Kind of. Well, kind of like those like jet kind of stunt pilots, airplanes. I don't know my airplanes that well, but like they're kind of.
No, I know what you're saying. I mean, that's what I think I sent you the poster that's up here. And
nice. Yeah.
It's so like a yellow or orange plane or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
So it looks almost like kind of cartoonish on the screen, but him just doing all the stunts and like the whole like premise of the movie of both the movies are like an AI taking over the world. So it's like it really is just like in a simple way. It's Tom Cruise being like, don't let AI ruin movies. I'll hang out of the plane as long as you don't use like CGI or AI to like make these movies because I'm a lunatic that will be watching and being in movies for the rest of my life, which is what's great about Tom Cruise. So
yeah, and I'll watch it. I'll watch every one of them. I mean, maybe not the Jack Reacher shit, but like I'll watch them. I'm going back to we got to do Cocktail. I think I talked about wanting to cover that. And I don't think you said you never seen that, right?
I've never seen Cocktail. A newer one that I know you have to watch that I love is Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, right. That's right.
The sci-fi with Bill Paxton shows up in that one. That's a fucking great movie. Yeah. Have you watched recently? I know we were texting about it, but I played the Werewolves of London scene from Color of Money with him in it.
Oh yeah, you were just talking about like Zevon. Yeah.
It's that scene is Tom Cruise perfection, and obviously Zevon playing in it. It's such a great fucking scene. I love Color of Money. It's such a fun movie. So,
you know what? It's like probably looked at as one of like Scorsese's least favorite. But
yeah, but Scorsese's worst is still fucking awesome.
Oh, well, come on, of course, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like the Mission Impossible movies I got to at least see this one before. Like you don't have to see it in succession, right? Like you could see this one without seeing the first part. I feel like sometimes that's the problem. It's like everyone's like, well, I got to watch them in order.
I would recommend it in order. There's enough there to the story, just in terms of the way the characters play out. You don't have to watch them in order, but
well, especially because you said this one's kind of a summation of all of the films. So. Okay, yeah. Because Sinners is playing at the Vista. They brought it back for another week, and I hadn't seen that, but I was kind of like bummed because it's one of the only places that was playing it in 70 millimeter, and I've just heard great things. And I was like, man, so I think I'm going to try to go see that next week.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check it out. Still haven't gotten to it yet. So
yeah.
Music Box of Horrors. Just got my ticket today for October. And
damn, they're already pumping that, huh?
One of the first movies they've announced, a little Suncoast classic that we love, Jason X will be playing.
Oh my God. Uber Jason Voorhees Born. Kick fucking ass.
Yeah. So I saw Jason X at the theater. That was the first Friday the 13th movie I ever saw. So that's why it's always kind of in the theater.
I was going to say, really?
Yeah, no. In the theater. So it's always held a special place in my heart. And yeah, that was a pretty popular one at the video store, riffing on it. So inside jokes that...
Did we actually play that on the TV?
I was probably just talking about it for 3 weeks straight.
Because you fucking loved it so much.
Yeah, so and then the stupid jokes with the Bourne movie coming out at the same time just evolved naturally. So
yeah, very natural.
I don't think we were playing Jason X at the time. We had, the only rule we had was not playing our movies. That was kind of the only, which wasn't even being held upheld when I started, but then they started cracking down on it. So.
Well, it started to become like you got to play the movies that like we want to sell,
right?
And
because I remember like the first days I worked, they were playing like Evil Dead 2 and like Jay and Silent Bob the cartoon. It's like it was like they were the people working there at the time when I started were like just literally playing whatever they wanted, and then it was a little bit more of a structure. So
it's kind of like that now because there's no like corporate movie stores anymore. So yeah, like you go into a movie store, whatever the fuck that means these days, and like you can kind of curate it how you want. Going into the Vista. What was that? I sent you that picture, but like I just love walking into that little. It's just like it's so cool.
Oh, they were playing Speed on the CRTV, the old school box.
And
TV,
you just never know when you walk in there, like what it's going to be, and you know, you end up being like, God damn, I fucking love this movie. And oh my God, it's so cool to see it the way I saw it when I, first saw this film or, whatever, I owned the VHS, and it reminds you. It's a cool little nostalgia thing that these movie places do.
Oh yeah. That's all I've been watching. Anything you catching up on?
Mostly stuff that like, I wouldn't say movies as much as like television shows. So one that like, we were hoping would be good that this like is like kind of just dipped way the fuck off, especially in the mix of like television shows that I've been watching. So Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm, everybody on this podcast, if you know, I love John fucking Hamm. But the show is just taking a dip, kind of sucks. Apple though has been killing it. And we've been also watching on their, well, my girlfriend loves Severance, but I haven't seen yet. And then HBO had just released, which I was really excited about, this Pee Wee Herman documentary. Pee Wee is himself. And
I heard about it. Yeah.
Excellent. See it immediately if you're a Pee Wee fan, but even if you're not, I think it's just a great thing for someone who's a creative person to see. It's I love biography movies anyway, like in general, and I think it's really well done. Bittersweet, with him passing away and everything. No spoilers.
Is it kind of like a full summation of his life? Does it cover like a lot of stuff in his life? Yeah,
I think what people have been talking about with it since it's come out is that what his idea was. So no one knew he was dying when he did it. He didn't like most of his life. It's kind of talking about like the duality or lack thereof of Paul Rubens and Pee Wee Herman, because he didn't give anybody Pee Wee Herman. He gave he didn't give anybody Paul Rubens. He just gave them Pee Wee Herman. So like a lot of things, he wanted to set a lot of the record straight about like the rest and sort of the way he's been thought about this. Like he had like child porn charges brought up against him that I think were thrown out except for like one, and nobody really knows why. And the documentary does a good job of like showing you what wasn't just the headline. but also you find out that he was gay, which nobody knew. And the way he had to live his life. And I don't want, I'm sorry if people are listening to this, I don't want to spoil it because these are like, again, like little like hot button issues. It's all the bigger creative that he did, and the way that he made this creative life is interesting to hear. And then you get a glimpse into who the real Paul Rubens was, and then sort of like the understanding of what happened. And then he doesn't trust the documentary filmmaker, and maybe rightfully so, because of the way that his life is played out. And it's kind of like you see that during the like filming of it, because he wants to direct this thing himself kind of and tell his own story, but he knows it's like he can't do that because somebody else is telling the story. And then the last, like, he put off doing the last interview that was going to talk about like the child pornography charges and like everything, and then he dies before he can. However, he makes a recording to like tell people about what he wanted to say. That's like about a 2-minute audio clip that he sent to the director to play, which is basically the end of the film.
Jesus, I had no idea.
The day before he died, he made it, and then that's what's in the documentary at the end. And it's terrific. I recommend it. Loved it. It's sad to me that like that's the last I'm ever going to get to see of like a creative person, you know, someday that you're done, you know, and then you don't create anything anymore. Anyway, so that's great. What was the other thing? Oh, the studio. That's what I was talking about. Apple. See that fucking show if you haven't yet. You need to see it. It's awesome. It's great. It's up for fans of the movies. Generational, like from old movies all the way up until now. It does everything. It's perfect. It's great. Seth Rogen's like really made something special. Loved that. Yeah,
I need to get on Studio and just binge Studio and the Godzilla show when I'm on Apple.
So. Oh, the Monarch thing. Yeah. Well, so there's a reason now if you wanted to get it for like a month or whatever to try it out, like you could see both of those now.
Because I would watch it for those two.
Yeah, and I know Monarch is probably coming back. I think that did well, so they're probably doing a second season of that.
A Kurt Russell show with Godzilla does well. So
yeah. Who wouldn't want to watch?
There's no other way that type of show goes. So yeah,
and his son is.
Yeah, I heard like it was like one of the only times in history like where a father-son play the same character in a TV show or something. Some weird, like obscure thing where it's like that's just never happened.
Well, you may have heard that from me because I saw the panel for Monarch last year when they did the Emmy thing, and his thing was that he didn't want to do a show where he was going to be like in the universe as his son or something, or I can't remember. There was something about that he just didn't. It was like a stipulation, like I don't know. Anyway, really cool.
Wait, you're saying that he didn't want to be in a universe with his son as another character, so that's why they're playing the same character?
I think so. I could be wrong. I probably said it on some podcast when I talked about seeing Monica, so you can go back and listen to that. But yeah, there was something about that Kurt Russell was kind of like, you know, these days he probably just picks and chooses whatever he wants to do. And I think his son wanted to do this thing, and they were like, can we get Kurt Russell? And he's like, yeah, like I'll do it because I want to do something with my son, but I don't want to do it traditionally, some way or whatever. Told you I'm going to see Blue Velvet. The week after that, I'm going to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at Cinespia.
Yeah, just crushing the classics. Man.
Cannot wait to see both of those. They keep on. I have no money these days, so they keep on releasing kick-ass fucking movies over there, and I'm like, God, what? I have to draw the line somewhere. What do I draw? I mean, they just finished playing Big Lebowski last weekend. It's like, dude, I would love to see that over there. I told you I want to go see Sinners. I think that's about it, man. You know, just like I've been painting feverishly behind the scenes for a bunch of gallery shows that are coming up, and I'm gonna do a piece for the well, I can't really talk about it right now in case anybody's listening this long, but I'll tell you probably by next time because they'll have released it. But I think I told you I did like a poster for Murder by Death for their tour, which is one of my favorite bands, so I'm excited about that. he had like a lot of cool artwork that's been going on behind the scenes. It's like, it's weird these days because like I used to just post all of my art like to sell, you know, via my Instagram, but now it's like they're being put together for like gallery shows and stuff like that. And I think that's a good trajectory for me of where I want to be as an artist, you know, like creating things to be on walls somewhere.
Love it.
Yeah. But then other than that, man, I've been enjoying kind of like listening to some music that is kind of from my youth. I don't know. Like today for some reason I went and listened to like Hole. I haven't listened to Hole in forever. And then I was like, I don't know, listen to Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. So that's actually going to be my song for because we have no Smashing Pumpkins on our thing. And I was just like, that fucking 2-disc is so good. Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. Are you familiar? Yeah.
I mean, you didn't grow up in the 90s in the suburbs without listening to Melancholy for sure. That was like a staple for sure in every household. So I was talking about this not that long ago. It's like I was raised in a household with a lot of music. I got exposed to a lot of 90s alternative music at a young age because my sister was a couple years older and she was like very advanced with music. My father was very engaged in music. My parents were young, so he was still kind of like in his prime listening to music in the 90s. So at 8 years old, I was definitely listening or hearing Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins. I still remember, it's a memory I'll always remember. So when the Smashing Pumpkins, when Disarm, when their video like premiered on MTV.
Yeah, like 120 minutes or something.
And this was back in the day. This is like makes me sound so old that I'm telling this story, but like it was like the only way you were watching those videos is if somebody like recorded it, or if you're just sitting at home watching MTV all day. So I still remember making a trip on the weekend. My father wanted to see the music video. My uncle had recorded it, so like we were just going to my uncle's house. He had a pool, so it was fun. But I remember like the priority was because he hadn't seen the new Smashing Pumpkins Disarm video, and my uncle, his brother, had recorded it. So like that was kind of the reason of like going over there that day, that Saturday. And I remember them watching that. So I'll always remember that. So that song always kind of sticks with me thinking of from that. But
super cool memory. And I didn't know that your parents were like young enough to be like kick ass and cool, you know.
I mean, it's not like they were crazy young or anything. They were just, that's there was, that was the music that was popular at the time, and
Yeah, I mean, but my dad was listening to like the oldies. It was like, they weren't listening to contemporary music. That was more like somehow we found out about that,
Yeah.
Or my mom.
My dad was way more into the newer stuff. Like his one of his favorite bands was The Cure, so I've always bonded him with over that. So, and he was into the alternative. Yeah, my mother was. She's still at the time listened to more like, she was always a Rolling Stones fan, so had a lot more kind of the 60s rock vibe with her, so in the 70s. So
cool. Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. But yeah, that Cure stuff about you and your dad, that's like clearly that's where that comes from. And then I know your uncle's a Zevon fan, so
I was fortunately exposed to a lot of good music. All to say that Melancholy and Infinite Sadness was definitely in the household growing up. So
yeah, there's something about that record that was kind of like a coming of age record for me or something, where I was just like, whoa, like holy shit. And I remember seeing them at the Rosemont Horizon during that tour.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like a super weird artsy show. Like he played like some song for like what seemed like 20 minutes. Like anyway, it was huge. And I remember seeing all the merch and stuff. I was like, this is a big band. And I remember being really proud because they're from Chicago, of course, in that song, Tonight, he says, my city by the lake, the place where I was born. And then, you just felt that pride from being from Chicago. But the song I love on it, and I was listening to today on my walk earlier, is called Muzzle. You familiar with that tune?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love that song, and I hadn't heard it in a while. I also love the song Bodies on this record, but and there's a ton, right? Cupid de Lac is actually one of my favorite, but they're also eclectic and weird, but somehow they fit together. But Muzzle just feels like such like a, I don't know, it's like it got that cool drum fills, and it's like anthemy and I don't know, powerful. So that's my song.
Hell yeah. No, that's that is a pivotal album, like that, rightfully so. And it's good to hear that, like, I mean, the Pumpkins are fucking really popular with the younger generation, like
yeah, I mean,
teenagers and 20-year-olds.
Totally.
Like they fucking love the Pumpkins. So
which is crazy,
it's really
too,
awesome
like,
to hear. So
that's, in my opinion, when you start to see like bands that, like, you know, they could have gone through that phase where, like, you know, their fans grew up and, you know, people weren't coming to the shows, or it was just that weird period that all bands and artists kind of go through. But like the power of like continuing on to be legendary eventually, you know, like, which they are now. And it's like, he's doing his own podcast. My brother keeps on sending me like stuff, like how much he likes it. And he's also got like stuff he does with wrestling. Like that guy's like a businessman. You got Madame Zuzu's over there in Highland Park. I mean, wow.
So I forgot the name of it. I was just looking it up. Madame Zuzu's. It's been twice hit by a car. Two different times a car is running into his fucking.
What is it? Is that like in a corner or something? Or?
I have no idea the logistics why, but just the fact that his tea shop has been hit twice by two different cars is a kind of a bummer. Sucks.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Fortunately, nobody's hurt or anything, but I think his mother-in-law was like in the shop the first time it happened. So fortunately, like nothing happened, but
yeah.
Poor Corgan can't catch a break, I guess, man. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, what's your song pick of the week? I'm sure you got a good one.
Kind of a similar vibe, I guess. It's just a throwback band. It's the B-side of one of my favorite bands when I was listening to back in the day, The Strokes.
Oh,
obviously,
cool.
Everybody knows The Strokes, but they were a gateway band for me. They were like kind of like a garage rock band that like led me to, you know, because I was still in high school when they were like starting making music, but they were one of the bands that like you discover and you just start going backwards and you discover older music and their influences. I think I recommended like Television was like a major influence on them.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But just generally as a garage rock band, they were kind of like a gateway to where I would just go backwards. So, but awesome band. I mean, I saw them a couple times when their first couple albums came out. I remember going up to Milwaukee for one of their shows, seeing them here at the Aragon here in Chicago. Always fun. But one of their B-sides that I hadn't heard in years. So I had the actual CD. It was a B-side of the song Juice Box. I think it was from their third album. And it was a song that I listened to a bunch when it was when I had the CD. It was never like a single officially, or it definitely wasn't on like any of their albums. And I heard it until like a couple years ago that it was showed up on like Spotify. So the song Hawaii is my song pick. Super fun, bouncy track from them. But like I said, it just was, I didn't hear it anywhere for years and came across it a couple years ago again, and fucking awesome song that I love.
Cool. I don't think I know it. And I know all of the Strokes stuff. So that's cool. It's like a one that I've never really come across. I know like New York City Cops was like a big deal.
Yes.
Remember that was like Nowhere, but it was like a B-side as well, I think.
Well, yeah. So that was one that was taken off of Is This It in America, but it stayed on like the UK album.
Because New York City Cops or whatever. Yeah.
Well, because it was like right after 9/11.
9/11. That's right. Yeah.
You know, the solution to anything is to censor art, and that helps always.
Right.
So, you know.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure some deluxe edition is going to put it back out.
But that song was so fucking great. Yeah, that song was so fucking great. Everybody was like, no, we need that fucking song. So it's like, I think later editions actually did incorporate some of that. And that single was available quite a bit. But yeah, Hawaii was one I didn't really heard too much. And it's fun and bouncy, and it's like prime Strokes enthusiasm. So
awesome. All right. Well, cool. Here we got our songs. Great talk on Master and Commander. Episode 72. Thanks everybody for sticking with us this long. I mean, my next pick is going to have to be something good because I feel like I'm pale in comparison lately to your kick-ass, you know.
Well, you're making it easy for me if you haven't seen these movies. So that's all it comes down to. It's not like it's not a competition. It's just like if you haven't seen a movie, if there's a movie that I haven't seen that you love, fucking do that, man. That's the joy. I think that's what people get the most out of it too. So
yeah, no, totally. All right, I'll put my thinking cap on. For God's sake, I got 2 weeks, right?
Master and Commander, awesome talking with you about it, and she's definitely in her prime. So
she's in her prime. All right.
Oh yeah.
I'll see you next time, and yeah, enjoy yourself in the meantime.
Will do, but
Okay.
all right, I'll talk to you.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.